All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. This was a good one tonight. We dealt with some adversity from the beginning. We allowed 3 runs in the first inning, and 2 of those were off of an error, right second or third batter of the game. But we ended up getting out of the inning, giving up one more run. We actually had one earned run that inning. We had one earned run for the game. One earned run. And we come up to bat with three down 3-0. That first inning at the plate, we sent all 10 batters to the plate. We sent all 10 batters to the plate. We end up scoring 5 runs. So we go up 5-0. We don't turn it back over to the top of our lineup. Um, and that's so good. That set the tone very early. That first inning took a longer than we wanted to take when we were out in the field, but we really took advantage when we were at the plate. That first inning, we had one, two, three, four, five walks. We had 2 hit batsmen, and then we had a single. And that single drove in 3 runs, or that single drove in 2 runs, and then we walked in the other three, or hit bats other three. We played really, really well um, at the plate. We did a really good job being patient and then making contact when we needed to. We had really good contact from 4 or 5 guys tonight. And then one thing that I was really, really impressed with that has not happened so far this season. We had a few looking strikeouts, which you don't really like to have looking strikeouts. But also tonight, we did not swing at a bad pitch. So we didn't swing at a bad pitch throughout the night, which is really, really good. That's really, really important for us. We ended the night with hitting wise, we ended the night with more walks than we did strikeouts, which is really, really good. We had 6 strikeouts, we had 9 walks. And again, I say we did not swing at a pitch that we should not have swung at. We let a few go by that we should have swung at, but we didn't let any pitches go by that or I'm sorry, we didn't swing at any pitches to help the pitcher out, which is really, really good. And that shows a lot of progress that we're making at the plate. I'm really, really happy with that. As far as pitching, we did a really good job pitching. We Our first pitcher threw 77 pitches, 8 strikeouts, 4 walks, 3 hit batsmen, 1 hit or 2 hits, 1 earned run. The 3 hit batsmen, we were starting to lose control. And so once we had that third hit batsman, if you have 4 in a game, you have to be out. And at 3 in an inning, you're out for the inning. 4 in a game, you're out for the game. But more than that, that last hit batsman loaded up the bases. At that point, we were ahead 2 runs. If they get a base hit or we commit an error, it could snowball and we could end up going from up 2 to down a run or 2. And so we brought in somebody to get the save. We had a 4 pitch strikeout to get the save. And then late at the end of that inning is when we really drove it home. We scored 4 runs to really put the game out of reach at that point. That's why the umpires, we actually had a minute left. The umpires just called the game because there was no way to start another inning, and that they were going to come back from our deficit anyway. We threw 77 pitches total. We saw 104 pitches. So again, this is every game so far except for one, we have seen more pitches from the opposing pitcher than we've thrown, which is really good. We're being really efficient in the field, and we're being more efficient in the field. We're making them work harder at the plate. And so we did some really, really good things, some good things that we can work on, and moving forward. These games during TCAP week are kind of it's a difficult one, making sure everybody's paying attention, making sure everybody is kind of relaxed. And so I was really impressed with the way that we played tonight. And I'm looking forward to Wednesday. We have a game Wednesday. We have another game Thursday. And then after that, if we get to play both of these games this week, we'll we'll be halfway through our regular season. So I'm really excited with the way we went. Excited with the first game of TCAP week, and we have time for a question if anybody has one. Yeah, one what I talked to them about before the game was I said, this is an opportunity to take your mind off TCAP, focus on this. We can focus on this, and then after the game, that's why I reminded them. I said, okay, now shift your shift your focus back. Um, Shift your focus back to where it needs to be with TCAP. And then when we come back together on Wednesday for a game, we'll shift our focus back to the game again. Um, and the other thing was, yeah, there were some questionable calls. There's kind of some weird calls. And that's something that we have to deal with. I didn't agree with all of them. I don't agree with all the calls that are made in a game. But we have to move on from those. There were a few things that, had they not gone our way, I would have said something. For instance, the play at the plate when we were running home, the catcher never had the ball. The ball was thrown way over his head, and our player, while we should have tried to, you always try to avoid contact. The fact of the matter was that catcher was coming up in the he was coming up in the base path without the ball. So that should have been a interference on the catcher. The umpire told me it actually should have been an out for us, but he called the runner safe. The catcher never had the ball. The catcher never got close to the ball. So that's actually an interference call. That should have been an interference call on the catcher. Again, we need to try to avoid contact, but that's the way that is as well. And so, there were a few calls like that were kind of weird. There was a call at the end where we we shouldn't the umpire shouldn't have called timeout when our runner was leaving second to go to third on a throw. But at least, that's why I went out and talked, and we got the run from third to go in. And I really think the runner from second should have been able to go to third. That was his overthrow, but that's not the call that was being made. And frankly, at that point, I wanted to focus on the runner that scored. And so we kind of that was where I was kind of talking toward, is make sure we get that runner scoring. And so, those are things that we have to adapt to. And as I said last week, we know what we can do. We also know what teams can do now. And it's always good to know what kind of umpiring staff you have, what kind of crew you have that night. And so this is something that we can learn from. And then moving forward, I'm really excited to see how much learning we can do. Thanks, everybody. Bye.